What up, Jippers? Plays back once again for another No Man's Sky Next video, and this one is for the Xbox players. Today we're going to be going over a very quick recap of what the 3 major updates have added to No Man's Sky since the game originally launched. We're also going to be talking about every little piece of known and confirmed information about the No Man's Sky Next update. We're not going to be going to any speculation, any theorizing. We're just going to lay out the facts and the information we know for sure. And we're also going to talk a little bit more about the marketing approach and the fact that there is no digital pre-order available just yet for the Xbox community and why I think that is. And hopefully this video will be useful to put your mind at ease and just give you an explanation of what I think is actually going on there and why it's not the doom and gloom that some people seem to think it is. So before we start getting into the information, I just wanted to give a very, very warm welcome to anybody out there from the Xbox community who's going to be picking up No Man's Sky when it releases on Xbox on July 24th. I really, really hope that you enjoy the game even a tiny bit as much as I have. And if you do, I think you're in for a very, very good time. And I also just want to say, if you do get the game and you're enjoying it, I definitely encourage you to make a little bit of an effort to reach out to some of the No Man's Sky community on places like Twitter, Reddit, Discords, YouTube, all of that good stuff, because the community that's built up around this game is one of the best things I personally have ever experienced in all of my time playing video games. I've never been super big into that kind of social aspect of gaming. I've always kind of been a single player gamer, but this game more than any other has really opened me up to that, and it's just been such a fantastic time. I've met some incredible people. I talked to some really incredible people. There's so many awesome things going on, people organizing community events in game and around the game, loads of cool hubs and groups and stuff like that, all sharing beautiful creations and screenshots and videos and activities and things like that. And it's just a really, really big part of why I love the game so freaking much. And if you want any help with any of that kind of stuff, or you want to know some good places to start, let me know in the comments. I will be happy to reach out to you and help get you involved a little bit more, because the community for the most part is very warm and welcoming to any new players. So to start the video, I just want to say, for anyone that somehow missed it, No Man's Sky is coming to the Xbox. So it'll be on Xbox One and One X, and that will be available on July the 24th, which is the same date the No Man's Sky Next update drops for all of the existing players on all other platforms. So you're going to be getting Next at the same time as all of us, and we're all going to be enjoying it together. And if you are one of those people that wants to try and get it ordered, that wants to pre-order, that wants to pick it up right now, you can do that for the physical Xbox release of the game, even though the digital pre-order is not available at the moment. But just a word of caution, the physical release does have a slightly different date depending on where in the world you are. So for America and NA, the date for that will be July the 24th, which is the date the update actually goes live. It's July the 26th for anyone in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Spain, Australia, or New Zealand. And then everywhere else will get the physical release on July the 27th. And if you're wondering where that comes from, that's direct from 505 Games themselves. They are, of course, responsible for the physical distribution and the physical Xbox release of the game. Now, for anyone picking it up on Xbox, you do indeed get all of the major updates and all of the minor ones in between that have been brought to the game from launch all the way up to now, and that is all free content. You pay for the core game, you get all of the updates that have been dropped so far for free. You also get the next update, and that will be included on the physical disc, and we know there will also be more free updates in the future. So that should hopefully tell you exactly what you need to know in terms of getting the game. And I just want to mention that if you are going to pre-order the physical copy of the game from your local retailer, you do also get the pre-order bonus. Of course, PC and PS4 players also had a pre-order bonus when the game launched for the first time on those platforms, but Xbox players will get a newer, updated version of that, and that will include the XO suit, which is a really cool player skin, as well as a different starter multi-tool and 10,000 units of in-game credit. That is a very small amount of credit in the game, so it's not like it's going to give you a huge advantage, but it's a nice little intro to help you get started. And now we're going to go through a very brief rundown of what the major updates have added so far. If you do want a much more detailed and expansive version of every little aspect that's been added since the game launched, I do have a separate video for that, and the link to that will be in the pinned comment and the description. There have been hundreds of changes, and there is a lot of stuff in there that's happened. But if you do want to see all of that, you can watch that video, or alternatively, you can go to nomansky.com, the website, and you will be able to click on each of the updates to read the full patch notes and watch the trailers. I also want to point out that most of the footage you're seeing in this video is my actual current in-game gameplay. So that's what the game looks like today. You're seeing real gameplay. That is No Man's Sky as of right now. I'm also going to throw in a couple of clips from each of the updates as I talk about them. But don't worry, the trailers for the updates have also all been made using in-game footage. There's no scripting or anything fishy going on there. Ever since the game launched, with every single update that has dropped, they have chosen to use actual in-game footage for all of their trailers, and I expect they will probably do the same for the No Man's Sky next trailer when that drops relatively soon too. And if you do want to see a whole load of gameplay, I have a massive playlist on my channel of gameplay footage, real gameplay that you can actually go and see, listen to me talk as I play, and that should give you a very, very clear and accurate view of the game as it stands right now. So now on to the update. So there have been 3 major updates. The first of these was the Foundation update that came out 3 months after the initial launch of the game. That fixed a whole load of bugs and issues, as well as adding new game modes. So we had creative mode and survival mode, which are pretty much what you would expect from the names. It also added base building and farming, as well as the inclusion of freighters into the game, and freighters are pretty freaking cool. There were also a whole load of minor improvements, as with every single update, and a couple of new resources and pieces of technology in the game as well. Then there was the Pathfinder update, which was an even bigger one. That added planetary vehicles known as exocraft in the game, and also gave us the ability to create racetracks and race with them. It also made a number of visual improvements to the way that the game looked, as well as allowing us to own multiple ships. So until that update, we could only ever have our one ship, but as of the Pathfinder update, we are now able to own up to 6 ships, as well as our freighter. It added ship and multi-tool specializations and classes. It brought PS4 Pro support to the game, and any Xbox One X users will also see an Xbox One Enhanced Edition with full 4K support and HDR. And it added another game mode called Permadeath, which was essentially the one life mode. If you die, the game is over, no second chances. So yeah, good luck with that one if you're brave enough to try it. And my personal favorite thing that was added with the Pathfinder update was photo mode. You might have seen a whole load of beautiful No Man's Sky screenshots out there, and those have really flourished as a result of the in-game photo mode. It lets you stop time, change the position of the sun, add a load of filters. It's really cool. It's one of my favorite things about the game, and I just love capturing absolutely beautiful moments using that tool. So yeah, definitely one of the highlights for me. But those were really just the warm-up. It was the Atlas Rises update, or 1.3, which really came along with some hefty changes, some really big improvements to the game. It added a 30-hour full sci-fi story with actual NPC characters and dialogue and all of that good stuff. It regenerated the entire in-game universe because they'd made a whole number of improvements to the way that terrain and planets were made. It made the look and feel of them much better, and it made them a bit more interesting to actually explore. And it also added things like economy and conflict levels to the in-game universe and each of the individual systems, which was really cool. It added exotic planet types, so these are some really bizarre and interesting looking planets that are quite unique and quite rare to find, but when you do, they definitely make for some really special moments. It added crashed freighters, which could actually be found on the planet's surface. You can kind of go to them, have a wander around, explore around them, and dig up buried cargo around the crash site. It added a full mission system with guilds, more visual updates, the terrain editor, which basically allows you to run around on planets and morph the terrain, taking away huge chunks of land or building them up, or morphing the ground almost like clay into cool shapes, structures, and buildings. And of course, it also brought along portals. Now, these are really cool. They're essentially a way for you to fast travel to any planet in the galaxy that you're in, as long as you have the portal address code for it. You can also try out some random addresses and just see where you end up. But the best thing about that, of course, was if your friend found a really cool planet, or somebody found a truly special, beautiful looking planet, they could post the address, and then anybody that saw that could kind of go and visit that easily without actually having to travel there by having to make an incredible journey across the entire galaxy. It also added the very basic type of multiplayer that's in the game right now. Some of you may have seen this. This is essentially the little floating orbs that you can see that allow you to see up to 15 other players in one instance at a time. It also has a little voice chat system that's based on proximity. So if you find another player and you've both got your voice chat turned on, you can actually have a little conversation and see them as that little blue orb floating floating around near you on a planet. It added exotic ships. So these are some really regal and cool looking ship types that are also quite rare and quite expensive. And they're seen by a lot of people as the best ships that you can work up to. Again, there are a whole load of minor improvements and bug fixes and that kind of stuff. And it also added a low flight mode, which allowed you to fly much better on the planet's surface, and improved space combat. So when you're dogfighting out there in space, they overhauled that quite significantly with this update and definitely improved the feel of that a lot more compared to what it had been previously. So that's where we are right now. That's everything that's taken up to the point of the gameplay that you're looking at on screen at the moment. But I guess the basic summary and the thing that is quite important for any newcomer to know is that they have worked non-stop on this game without taking any real break since the game launched. So they are constantly working, constantly improving, and constantly building on that launch release version of the game, and there are no plans for that to stop. We've got the biggest update ever coming yet with No Man's Sky Next, which all of you Xbox people will be experiencing day one. So you'll have that complete package the first time you play. Everything will be there with all of the improvements I've just talked about and all of the things that we know already about Next that I'm going to talk about, as well as all of the other stuff that we don't know yet about the next update. So that's quite exciting. I think you guys are coming in at a pretty freaking cool point, and hopefully you're going to have a lot of fun with this. So what do we actually know about No Man's Sky Next? I have got an entire playlist on my channel called No Man's Sky Next News, Information and Speculation, where I kind of dig into every tiny little hint, tease, leak, or piece of information that's come out about the next update. If you really want to delve deep into all of that stuff, definitely go ahead and watch that. I also give a lot of my ideas and theories about stuff that I think is coming, and most of that is based on things that I've seen or heard either from Hello Games, 505, Press, or the Waking Titan ARG. Some of you might have heard about the ARG or Waking Titan, and some of you might be a little bit lost about that. But if you do want to find out more, there is a What is Waking Titan video in the pinned comment and description of this. I definitely recommend you go and watch that to give you an idea of what that is. But essentially, it's a set of real life puzzles and challenges and things that the community are involved in, and whenever we get to a certain point in those challenges, we normally unlock a tease or a feature that is going to be in the next update for the game. They did this for Atlas Rises, and they basically showed off things like screenshots of the new ships and stuff that were going to be in the game, and they've been doing it again for No Man's Sky Next. So we have got some really good, solid information about features that are definitely coming in the next update through that, on top of what you may have heard from things like the Inside Xbox events or from Hello Games directly or 505 themselves. So there is some additional information that's come from there that you might not have seen if you haven't looked at any of that stuff yet. But I'm going to summarize the actual features that are confirmed right now. So you should have everything you need to know by the end of this video. So in terms of features for Next, we know of course the big thing is the full multiplayer experience. That's what it's been described as. That's what it was talked about at the Inside Xbox event. That is what Sean Murray himself has gone on record to say. No Man's Sky Next will build on what we've seen before, and it will give us a full multiplayer experience. We know that this is going to include 2 to 4 player co-op. We know that it will allow us to play with our friends or bump into random strangers and encounter them naturally in the game. Anything beyond that you might be hearing is speculation. So we don't know how matchmaking is going to work. We don't know if it's going to be on dedicated servers. We don't know what the player count limit is going to be. So we don't know if you're going to be able to see up to 16 players like we currently have with the basic multiplayer that's in the game now, or if it's going to be more than that or less than that. We really have no idea. So all we actually know is it's being described as full multiplayer with 2 to 4 player co-op. We know that that also comes along with actual fully fleshed out and animated player models. We're not going to be the little floating orbs that you see now. We are going to have a character, a player avatar, and we have seen teases of a variety of different types of suit, including of course the Preorder exosuit, as well as some other ones through Waking Titan. We also know that ringed planets are coming to the game. Planets in the game currently don't have rings around them or anything like that, but this is another big change that's coming with the No Man's Sky Next update. You will be able to go out into space and find planets that actually have planetary rings. So that's one that I personally am very freaking excited about, and I cannot wait to see just how cool that looks when we get into Next. We've also been teased this new ship type. So this looks like some sort of big attack ship, and we've also had some in-game audio teases through Waking Titan, which reference a capital ship. So the consensus at the moment is that this new ship type that we've seen, that we've been teased, is going to be some sort of new capital ship, and one of the popular theories around that is that it will be a co-op ship, although just remember that that hasn't been confirmed. We just know that we're getting at least this one new type of ship. So they're the kind of big flashy things that we've seen, but we also had some really cool No Man's Sky Next audio, little sound clips that have been teased via the ARG, and from those we know that we're getting some improvements to sound in the game. Things like footsteps for the player models, things like the animal noises, those things are going to be improved, and there have also been some hints at co-op missions with references to things like salvage missions. Not too much is known about that, but it certainly sounds like the co-op element isn't just going to be you can see another player. It sounds like there's going to be co-op activities and things that you can actually do together, which again is something I'm really excited about. I can't wait to jump in with some friends and go and explore together and go and do some missions together and just have a lot of fun in this infinite universe that we've been given. 18 quintillion planets to go and explore. So many things that haven't ever and will never be seen by another player, another person. The game really is that big. Even today, in the almost 2 years that players all across the world have had a chance to go and explore in the game, we've only ever really seen a tiny fraction of the stuff that's out there. So hopefully all of that is sounding quite exciting to you if you are someone that's kind of thinking about getting this. My advice for anyone, as always in any situation, not just for this game, if you're not 100% sold on what you've already seen and what you already know about the game for certain, then I wouldn't risk getting a pre-order, just in case when the update comes it's not what you think it's going to be or it's not what you expect. If you're sold on the game right now as it is today, sure, go ahead, pick up your physical pre-order, make sure you get that arriving for launch day. But if there's any little bit of reservation in your mind, then I would suggest you just wait a little bit longer until you can see the patch notes, until you can see the trailer, until you've seen some actual gameplay, and then you can make your mind up and there's no risk of being disappointed. And of course, it's not long at all to wait now. You know, the 24th is only a couple of days away, and even on launch day, I expect for most people, you'll be able to walk into a retail store and grab yourself a copy on the Xbox if you want it that day. Now, before I move on to talking about the marketing and the approach to getting this game sold and pre-orders out there for the Xbox community, I do just want to mention one other thing. All of those features that I've just talked about there for No Man's Sky Next, those are just the things we know now. I can't say for sure what is going to be in the next update beyond that. I can't say exactly how big it's going to be. All I can tell you is that it's being described very confidently as the massive next update. They've gone ahead and printed those words on the physical Xbox box. It says the game includes the previous updates and the massive new next update. That's quite a bold statement from Hello Games, who typically, for those of you that might not know too much about them, have been very, very careful, cautious and reserved since the game launched. Now, some of you will understand that perfectly, and that's because, of course, when the game did launch, there was a monumental backlash against them. A lot of what people had expected the game to be never quite panned out at launch, and because of that, they've chosen to be very quiet and just focus on actually making improvements and updates and letting the work they do speak for them more than the marketing and that kind of stuff. So that kind of gives you a little bit of context about that. If you want to see my thoughts on the launch, that is something I have talked about in a video that I will put in the pinned comment there. It's not something I'm going to talk about again. That was kind of my view on it. It was a long time ago, we're way past that now, but if you are curious to see my take on it, go ahead and take a look at that. But the main thing I want to get across, and I would like the Xbox community to know who might not be following Waking Titan and the ARG and all of that kind of stuff, is that typically what we saw with the last update and all of the Waking Titan teasers then, they were just one tiny little piece of what the update contained. We got some hints, we got some clues, we got a couple of features confirmed, and then when those patch notes dropped, when the trailer dropped, and when the update actually came out, it was massive. There was so much more stuff that hadn't been talked about. So many surprises that we weren't expecting with Atlas Rises, and I definitely expect that to be the exact same situation here. So while I've told you about the things we know are coming, I'm quite confident in saying there will also be other surprises that have not been talked about, haven't been leaked, and haven't been revealed just yet. So yeah, let's talk about the marketing approach and the fact that currently, at the time of me making this video, there is no digital pre-order option available for Xbox users. I've alluded to the situation that happened at the game's original launch there, there, and I do personally believe that is exactly the reason why they're quite quiet, they're quite timid at the moment. There's not this massive push, this huge marketing campaign really trying hard to target Xbox users, to try and sell the game to them, to try and push pre-orders. My personal view on that is they learned a lot of lessons from what they saw in that original launch. They don't want to try and sell this game to anybody. They don't want to really push it. They don't want to hype it up too much until it's real, you know? Until we've seen that actual gameplay trailer, until we've got the full patch notes and the update is really ready and out there for us. They don't want to sell it just based on what they say. And I think that is a completely understandable and sensible approach from them. Although it might be a little bit disappointing to some people in the Xbox community, just bear in mind that existing players are in the exact same position. All of us are super excited about what we might see in next. We're all hyped. We all can't wait to see a trailer and find out more and know exactly what we're getting from next. But you can be pretty damn sure that when that trailer does drop and when those patch notes do drop, it's going to be a great freaking day. And at that point, there'll be no vagary, there'll be no uncertainty. We will all know exactly what we're getting, and that, in my opinion, is the time at which you should be making a decision to purchase or not, if you're not already sold on the game as it is today. The other thing I want to just kind of mention on the whole pre-order situation, some people are saying there shouldn't be a pre-order at all, even for the physical stuff, without them telling us exactly what next is going to be. I disagree with that quite strongly. I think the nature of pre-orders in general is something a lot of people are uncomfortable with. Typically, when you pre-order anything, you're buying it before it's out, before you've got it, before you've really got it in your hands and seen all of the detail. So there's always some risk there, there's always some assumptions, there's always some trust that you have to put into that. You don't normally know exactly what you're going to get when you pre-order something. You can have a pretty good idea, and I think in this situation, you've got the entire game as it is now and all of the updates that have been there previously, as well as some of the stuff that has been talked about, you know, the multiplayer. We do know quite a lot about the game at the moment, but I personally think the only reason we even have a physical pre-order at all is because that's being run through 505, because they're handling distribution and publishing, and because those physical copies have to be shipped out to stores and posted to people that want to get them on time for launch day. They have to make a pre-order option available for that. Now, for the digital download, my view on this is I don't think we're going to actually see one for Xbox until we've seen the full patch notes and that gameplay trailer. Until people have a very clear idea about exactly what they're going to get, I don't think we'll see a pre-order going up early. If you're wondering when you might expect to see the trailer, to see the patch notes, and for those pre-orders to become available digitally, typically for all of the updates before, it's been 1 day before the launch. So that would still give you enough time to buy it online, to get it downloaded, ready for launch day. You're not missing out on anything, you're not losing anything. The only thing that's being taken away here is that risk factor of buying something before you're 100% sure. I know people are excited, I know people want to buy it, I know people want to get it sorted and want to know everything right now, but ultimately what we're talking about here is the difference of a couple of days. Pre-orders are not everything. If the update comes out, if it's really good, if people are absolutely loving it when it drops and putting videos out on it and talking about it and tweeting about it, then everyone will be able to see it. They'll watch the trailer, they'll read the patch notes, they'll look at the gameplay, and that is when people will start buying it and they'll know exactly what they're getting. So I don't think that's ultimately going to hurt anybody, especially not Hello Games. All it's really doing is removing that risk of the situation they had at launch, where loads of people are pre-ordering it before they actually know for sure, and then them changing their mind and having to refund it after they've bought it. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. By the time the update drops, all of this conversation about marketing and pre-orders is going to be completely forgotten. People are going to be having a great time with Next, or they'll have looked at it and decided actually maybe it's not for them. But either way, there's not long left to wait now, guys. And before we end the video, there is just one more thing that I want to mention. We are expecting one more tease from the Waking Titan ARG to take place this weekend. So when you watch this video, stay tuned. We may get another feature or another big thing revealed about what the next update is going to be. And if that does happen, I'll be posting it here. You'll also probably see it all over Twitter. So hopefully that will give you a little bit more to go on. And of course, just give you a little bit more excitement while you wait for the update to drop. So yeah, that was everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, or at the very least found it useful. Again, if you are an Xbox player, if you are going to be picking this up for the first ever time, do reach out to me, do let me know, and definitely try and get involved with the No Man's Sky community. It doesn't matter what platform we're on, we all have a great time together, and there are some really cool memories that I've made being in this community. So I do think you're going to have a great time if you do get involved with all of that stuff. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Stay tuned. There will, of course, be more No Man's Sky videos, gameplay, and news very soon. Take care, guys, and peace. Just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of my current Patreon supporters: Sirocco Magelli, YO, Madeline J, NTB, Ovin S, Tyler D, Todd Cook, Neil B, Anarchy, Vanilla, Rasmus K, Autumn Long, Lukash, Husband Vader, Amras, Dale from the Atlas Hub, Ty the Blazer, Joanne Anderson, Heath, The Portrait Dude, Akami, Mac for a Day, Ongrad, and Dead D Reza. You guys are the best.